Before we begin, there is nothing you need to believe. You don't need to agree with anything you hear. You don't need to try to change your thoughts. This audio is simply an explanation followed by a period of rest. Many people hear the word affirmations and imagine repeating positive sentences, hoping something will change. For some people, that works. For many others, it doesn't. This is not because they failed. It is because the mind works in a specific way. Tonight, you'll hear a simple explanation of what affirmations actually are and why timing matters more than effort. You don't need to stay awake for this. If you fall asleep, that's fine. Your subconscious mind continues to process information even while you rest. An affirmation is not a wish. It is not pretending something is true when it isn't. An affirmation is simply repeated information. The human brain is shaped by repetition. This is how habits form. This is how language learns. This is how identity develops. Over time, repeated thoughts become familiar. Familiar thoughts feel normal, and what feels normal begins to feel true. Most people already use affirmations, just not intentionally. Thoughts like, I'm not good at this. This never works out for me. I never struggle. These are repeated statements. The brain treats them as information. Affirmations are simply intentional repetition instead of accidental repetition. The problem is not affirmations themselves. The problem is when and how they are introduced. When you are awake, your conscious mind is active. It evaluates information. It compares new ideas with past experience. If something feels unrealistic or contradictory, the mind resists it. This resistance is not negative, it is a protective function. If someone repeats a statement that conflicts with deeply held beliefs, the brain often responds with internal disagreement. This is why affirmations can feel frustrating. The mind argues back, not because the person is doing it wrong, but because the brain is doing its job. Trying to override this resistance with force usually increases tension. And tension is not a state where change occurs easily. As you begin to fall asleep, brain activity naturally slows down. Analytical thinking softens. The inner dialogue becomes quieter. This is not a mystical state. It is a biological one. In this state, the brain becomes more receptive to repetition. Information is no longer immediately evaluated or rejected. This is why sleep is essential for learning, memory, and emotional processing. Affirmations introduced during this state are not argued with. They are simply received as neutral input. Over time, neutral input becomes familiar. Familiar input feels safe, and safety allows the brain to update old patterns. You do not need to try to absorb anything consciously. There is no goal to achieve. The most effective state for change is one of rest. As your body relaxes, your mind is free to let go of unnecessary effort. From this point forward, you may simply listen or sleep. Either way, repetition will continue quietly in the background. There is nothing to monitor, nothing to judge. Rest supports integration. Integration happens naturally. The mind is allowed to rest. There is no need to evaluate every thought. Familiar patterns can soften over time. New information can be introduced gradually. Safety supports learning. The nervous system responds to calm repetition. Change does not require force. Rest is also productive. The subconscious mind continues processing while you sleep. There is nothing you need to do.